It is week 12 of the college football season, and I have a pretty short video for you guys today. There's not a lot of games that I really want to break down. There's a few that I think are really, really important this weekend, but not a ton like there normally is. I mean, obviously upsets can come from anywhere, so we'll have to wait and see where they come from, but I'm not going to make you guys sit through like an hour-long video of me covering every single game and hoping I hit on one of my predictions for the big upset. So we're going to get right into the games that I do have listed here, starting with Tennessee at Georgia. And Georgia just came off of an embarrassing loss to Ole Miss and have looked unimpressive really all season, in my opinion, and now they have to come back home and face a Tennessee team that feels like it's trending up, really. And everything I said in my recap about Georgia, I still believe. I don't think Georgia is a championship team this year, but I do think that they can win this game given the circumstances. They are at home, and I'm not very confident that the Tennessee starting quarterback will be able to play in this game. He's listed as questionable, and that does give Georgia the advantage. So I'm not really confident that Georgia's going to win, but I think that those do give them a slight edge. Tennessee's defense also really, really strong. They've been able to make stops all season, and Carson Beck has looked less than stellar all season, not to mention that the play calling for Georgia has been absolutely atrocious. Probably one of the easiest offenses to predict in the country, and that's not really good when you're going up against a defense like this. But I expect this to be a very low-scoring game, especially if Nico Iamaleava does not play for Tennessee. But I think that Georgia has the talent and the staff to turn it on, and while they definitely didn't turn it on last week, I know that they have it in them, at least I think that they do, and I'm trusting that they're going to be able to pull that out this week. It's very hard to beat Georgia at home, and this is a back-against-the-wall Georgia team. If they lose, they're essentially out of the playoffs, and I think Tennessee may be the better team, as hard as it is to admit as a Georgia fan, but I think that injury, home field advantage, and the importance of this game is going to give Georgia the win here. They really need this game to stay in the playoffs, so maybe I'm just hoping, but I do think Georgia can win this game, but I also thought they were going to beat Ole Miss, so, it is what it is. Next up, I have Arizona State at Kansas State. Both these teams still in the hunt for the Big 12 championship game. Kansas State was one of the favorites in the preseason to win the conference, but there's been some turnover issues and some head-scratching losses, and that made them, a hard team to really pin down. And on the other side, Arizona State was expected to be the worst team in the Big 12 in the preseason, and now they're also in the talks to be a championship team. They're predicted to be in the championship title game if they win this game. And that makes them a really hard team to pin down. They've had some really impressive wins here. And that's just the story of the Big 12. I mean, it's a crazy conference that anything can happen in. But Kansas State gets to host this game, so they do have that advantage. And that's a pretty big one considering that the only two losses that they have are on the road. And Arizona State's two losses were also on the road, so they're going to have to go and play at Kansas State. They're, not as good on the road, and Kansas State is a lot better at home, which is the case with most teams, but I think it's worth pointing out. And I think Kansas State has the better team as well with the better athletes. But if the turnover issue continues, I think Kansas State's going to be in a lot of trouble here. And Arizona State is really good at creating interceptions and turnovers. And I think that another factor in this game will be whether Scadaboo for Arizona State plays. He was out last week, but I think that if he does play and remains healthy, that Arizona State does win this game. It really just depends on which version of Kansas State shows up, to be honest. They are way more inconsistent than Arizona State is. If they bring their A game, I think that they will be plenty good enough to beat Arizona State. But if they play like they did last week or in some of the other weeks, I'm confident that Arizona State has it in them to win and will be able to do enough to win here. So, to be clear, I am picking Arizona State in this game, especially if Scadaboo plays. I just don't know if Kansas State can be consistent enough for me to pick them. I'm picking the more consistent team that I think will play a really solid game and possibly create some decent turnovers for them that can turn into points. And that's why I'm picking Arizona State to win this game. Next, I have Texas at Arkansas, and this is actually the last game I'm breaking down. I told you guys it was going to be a short video, but anyways, we have the return of a rivalry here. And I would urge Texas to take this one pretty seriously because the Hogs are going to bring their A game in this game, I believe. And they are kind of the team that can play spoiler to any of these big teams. We saw it with Tennessee. I know we saw them get blown out by Ole Miss 2 weeks ago, but this Arkansas team has a bye week and home field advantage on their side, and they're playing with house money. They don't have anything to lose here. I mean, they're trying to get to a bowl game, but they have several games to get there. This Arkansas team is very hit or miss, very, very inconsistent. I said in the past, they may be the most inconsistent team in the country, and when you're playing against one of the best teams in the country, I really can't bet on the inconsistent team. I just can't do it, so I have to go with Texas here. They could keep it close. I think Arkansas could keep this game close, but I think that Texas can outlast them if that does happen. No disrespect to Taylon Green or Jaquindon Jackson, both incredible players, but I think that Texas is going to be able to contain them and control this game. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. I hope you liked. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, like, and comment. And if you want to see the rest of my predictions, go onto my socials. That's X and Threads at @_rock321. That's all I have for you. Peace.